Natasha Clark has dashed, I think we can say, sprinted into the studio with a look on her face that to me says story breaking.
Breaking news, James, just in, the Conservatives have pulled their support for Craig Williams and Laura Saunders over that gambling scandal, essentially, that is engulfing the Conservative Party and starting to dominating now this final weeks of this election campaign. Conservative spokesperson has just told me, as a result of ongoing internal inquiries, we have concluded that we can no longer support Craig Williams or Laura Saunders as parliamentary candidates at the forthcoming general election. They say, we've checked with the Gambling Commission. This decision does not compromise the investigation that they are conducting, which is rightly independent and ongoing. So days after we got that first Guardian report into Craig Williams, the former aide to the Prime Minister, former Conservative MP, standing again to be re-elected at the next general election. The Conservatives have so far refused to suspend these two candidates, saying essentially that this ongoing investigation means that they can't do so. It seems today that obviously we know there's a rival Tory investigation within the party ongoing into these two, and it sounds like as a result of what they have figured out and find out from their own investigations, they believe that is enough for them to be pulled their support. So that means no Conservatives will be campaigning for them. However, it does, because it is too late to pull them off the ballot paper, mean that their names will still be on that ballot paper on July the 4th.
Confusing, perhaps, for some voters. I mean, even last night, they were saying it would not be, quotes, proper, end quotes, to suspend candidates, even as senior Tories lined up. And, of course, whoever was on the broadcast round yesterday, Chris Heaton-Harris, I think, tying himself in all sorts of knots, trying to defend Rishi Sunak's position, which Rishi Sunak has 24 hours later completely abandoned.
Rishi Sunak said last night it would be improper to prejudice the results of this ongoing investigation. And obviously we do know that the Gambling Commission's...
Perhaps they got ambushed by a bookie.
Perhaps.
To paraphrase Boris Johnson's defence for breaking, and of course Rishi Sunak's defence for breaking COVID laws. Maybe they were ambushed by a cake. Perhaps these Tories were ambushed by a bookie.
I'll put the question in.
So you go in to vote in these two constituencies, and a full list of candidates will be available at lbc.co.uk/candidates. And you still have name brackets, Conservative close brackets. But and in the unlikely event of their, likely or unlikely, in the event of them winning, they would arrive in Parliament as an independent, I presume.
Again, unclear. It doesn't say that they've, like I say, they're not part of... They can't withdraw the whip from them because they're not official Conservatives in Parliament, so they can't take that away. They're saying they're no longer supporting those two candidates, so they're no longer Conservative candidates. It's a bit like Labour in the Rochdale by-election when they were forced to pull their support for a candidate that made inappropriate remarks. So he was on the ballot paper, but therefore no longer supported by the Labour Party. So yes, I imagine you're probably right, James. They will probably sit as independents in Parliament if they were to be elected.
If they were to win. And do you think this is the beginning and the end of this episode of the saga? The saga's not over, as you've mentioned. Various inquiries continuing to unfold. A member of the Metropolitan Police still under arrest, a member of Rishi Sunak's armed guard. Or might this suggest that the Tories know more is coming and are trying to get in front of it? They've set a precedent for the next, if other names emerge, they'll be nixed as well.
There's been loads of names swirling around Westminster, none of which have been able to be stood up that they are as part of these ongoing investigations. But there were, Rishi Sunak was forced to deny yesterday, Chris Heaton-Harris forced to deny yesterday that the Cabinet were involved, that there were ministers involved. They said as far as they know, there is no more names coming. But look, we know that the Gambling Commission has got quite a wide remit at the moment, looking into candidates, those related to the Conservative Party and friends and family of those people that they may have believed.
And finally, Natasha, what was James cleverly saying on this issue just an hour or so ago in this very studio?
Yeah, he was asked about it, said it would be inappropriate to comment on this, like I say, just around an hour or so ago. So that decision clearly being made off air. But yes, James cleverly saying it's inappropriate to suspend these people. And obviously they are waiting to see the results back from the Gambling Commission. But clearly there is obviously more going on. And Craig Williams, it's important to stress, has actually admitted to making this bet. He's already made comments on this. He's already said that he should have realised what it would look. Exactly, he's made a massive error. We do know a little bit more detail about that. We have no comment from Laura Saunders. She made a separate comment through her solicitors and said that she would be challenging the BBC on their reports. But yes, this is clearly a decision that's been taken in the last few minutes by the Conservative Party.
And she, of course, is married to the Conservatives' director of campaigns who's currently on leave. He's taken leave of absence after also being
suspected of
included
placing
in
a bet.
these,
yeah.